Hello and welcome. You registered for the ITACE, the Inter-University Test of Academic English for Students. Watch this video carefully so that you're well prepared for the test. Do you have any questions after watching this video? Don't hesitate to contact the test center where you registered for the test. The ITACE for Students tests levels B1 to C2 of the Common European Framework of Reference for Languages. In the email we sent you, you will find the General Examination Guidelines of the University. Read these very carefully. The information in this video will be repeated on an instruction sheet you'll receive before the start of the computer test and during your oral test preparation. First of all, make sure you bring your identity card or passport to the test so that we can check your identity. You're not allowed to use your phone or other digital devices during the test. Put them in your backpack, bag or coat and make sure they're switched off before entering the examination room. If you're caught using a phone or other device or consulting dictionaries or other internet resources, this is considered fraud and you will be asked to leave the examination room immediately. Talking to other participants during the test is considered fraud as well. Next to the keyboard, there will be an instruction sheet which you can use to make notes. You can't take this home with you. When you leave the room, please leave everything on the table. The ITACE for Students consists of 3 components: a computer test, a written assignment in Word, and an oral test. You first do the computer test. If you pass the computer test, you can go on to the written assignment and oral test. If you've done all 3 components, you'll receive the ITACE for Students certificate. This video will discuss each of the components. The first test component, the computer test, will take place in a computer room. This component consists of 3 parts: reading comprehension, listening comprehension, and language in use, that is, vocabulary and grammar. On the website www.itace.be/students, you can access a sample computer test to get acquainted with the different question types in the test. Here are a few tips on taking the computer test. First of all, don't forget to fill in your full name. The computer test lasts a maximum of 2 hours. At the end, the test stops automatically. Each time you click on the answer button and go to the next question, your questions will be saved automatically. In the top right-hand corner, you will see a clock indicating how much time you have left. We advise you to leave at least 50 minutes for the final 3 vocabulary questions, which are texts with 5 gaps you have to fill in. No extra information will be given by the test administrators during the test, so read the questions carefully. Everything you need to know is in the instructions. You can use the instruction sheet provided to make notes, for example, while listening. After the test, please leave the instruction sheet on your table in the computer room. For the reading and listening sections, it's useful to read the questions carefully beforehand. That way you know what you need to focus on in the text or listening extract. The test questions are presented in a fixed order. The test does not allow you to return to previous questions. However, after answering the last question, you can choose to review all your answers and make changes if necessary before submitting the test. Scores are based on the number of correct answers and are not adjusted for guessing, so we advise you to answer all the questions. In some gap fill exercises, the first letter of a word is given before the gap, which means the word you fill in has to start with that letter. In that case, you can type that letter again or start from the next letter. Both answers are correct. In the listening section, you can click forward and back through the audio or video extracts, so you can listen multiple times. When listening, click on the icon once. Please be patient. It sometimes takes a few seconds before the extract starts playing. If you have a technical problem during the test, just raise your hand and a test administrator will come over to help you. Please note that the test administrator cannot discuss issues related to the content of the questions. As mentioned previously, you can use the Answer button to go to the next question during the test. And when listening, you'll need to click on the listening icon. It sometimes happens that these buttons are inactive. In that case, press F5 and then click Continue. The button will be reactivated. Note that you're allowed to leave to use the toilet during the test, but we would strongly like to discourage this, as we cannot pause the time and you will probably disturb the other test takers. We therefore advise you to use the bathroom before the test starts. When you finish the computer test, you'll need to remain seated until all participants have finished the test. That's after a maximum of 2 hours. The test administrators will let you know whether or not you can start the written assignment, that is, whether you obtained the minimum of B1 level or not. Note that you cannot leave the room between the computer test and the written assignment. Of course, if you didn't pass the computer test, you have to leave the room before the other participants start the written assignment. If you pass the computer test with a minimum of B1 level, you can continue to the written assignment, which will also take place in the computer room. You'll have 1 hour to write 2 texts in Word. Firstly, a 100 to 150 word email within a higher education context, and secondly, a 150 to 300 word formal, clearly structured, complete text on a given topic related to an academic context. Make sure you write your full name in the space provided in the document. The exact instructions for the written assignment will be shown at the top of the Word file. All Word functions can be used. A sample writing task is shown on the ITACE website. If you finish the written assignment early, you'll have to remain seated until all participants have finished. The test administrators will inform you when you're allowed to leave. Please leave the instruction sheet on the table. You'll receive an appointment with the time and place for your oral test. The ITACE oral test consists of 2 tasks, a presentation task and an argumentation task. For the presentation task, you'll get a printout of a set of slides which you discuss during your presentation. For the argumentation task, you'll be asked to give your opinion on one of 2 statements. An example of an oral test is available on the website www.itace.be/students. You'll have 15 minutes to prepare. You can make notes, and then you'll do the oral test with the examiner. You can use your preparation notes to remind yourself of your structure, but of course, you shouldn't read from your paper. The oral test itself takes about 15 minutes. The oral test will be recorded to allow an extra examiner to listen afterwards if necessary. When you've finished your oral test, you don't have to wait. You can leave immediately. After you've done all 3 test components, that is, the computer test, the written assignment and the oral test, the test centre will send you your certificate within 2 weeks. If you didn't pass the computer test and didn't do the writing and oral test, you won't receive a certificate. The best way to prepare for the ITACE is to look at the test examples on the ITACE website. We wish you good luck with the test.